Hello, and welcome to the Charles River Conservancy Parkland Show. My name is Renata von Charner. I'm the founder and president of the Charles River Conservancy. And of course, we're all about the river, the parklands, but we're also about music and celebrations. Today, I have a very special guest with me, with Megan Henderson. Welcome.
Thank you, Renata. Great to be here.
Revels and the Charles River Conservancy have partnered for the last 14 years. You've only been with Revels for 2 years.
A year and
That's something.
A year and change since July 1st, 2016.
It's great that you have joined this wonderful organization that is very dear to my heart, and we have worked wonderful things with Revels.
Yes.
And you continue that tradition. So the Charles River Conservancy is obviously about the Charles, it's about the parklands, but it's also about celebrations, making the river special. So we started in 2004 by illuminating bridges, like here, the Weeks Bridge, which you see does not have the new lights. We illuminated the River Street, Western Avenue, and then we had the first RiverSing in 2004 on the Weeks Bridge itself. It has since evolved. It was on the middle of the bridge. Was quite challenging because to sing on both sides of the river and to have the sound here, although it looks dramatic, but it was quite a challenge.
Well, from one city to the next.
That's right,
Cambridge
from Boston to
is
Cambridge.
a challenge.
That was quite a challenge. But it was dramatic, as it was here at night with the illuminated bridge and the singing coming from the river. But we eventually moved to the banks, although we still have wonderful puppets. And now, Megan, I would love for you to kind of describe of how, where it starts, RiverSing, and how it evolves.
Well, it's a wonderful thing. It starts in Winthrop Park with a gathering of various musicians. This year we had Marcos Santos and Anova Brazil, which is a wonderful percussion ensemble. There they are, extremely dynamic and fun-loving, and a great mix of people from all over. And in addition to them, we had JP Honk and we had Dirty Water Honk Band.
Appropriate.
Right? Not anymore. Thank you, Renata, for cleaning up the river.
Well, we swim in it, in the cleaned up river.
Yes. So we had them, we have stilt walkers, we have face painters sometimes, and fantastic puppets. So people gather up there and the honk bands have a conversation back and forth musically, and the drummers, the percussionists take their turn, and then eventually this whole procession gathers and we go from Winthrop Park down
to the
river. Weeks Bridge.
Yeah. Now let's step a little bit back. Revels. Revels, obviously, we have worked with Revels to celebrate the autumnal equinox. Tell us what Revels does other parts of the year.
Okay, so Revels is an organization that does celebrate the seasons. It's dedicated to tradition. It's, I believe, the new mission is bringing tradition to life. So that.
Well, here we started a new tradition. RiverSing is a tradition that was started with Revels and the Conservancy, a new Cambridge tradition.
That's right, which was beautiful. I think it was 2004 with the music director then, George Emlin, who was there for 32 years and did a phenomenal amount of work. So RiverSing is one of our favorite events. In addition to celebrating the fall equinox on the river, we do a spring sing, which is open to the community at large. We do that at the Watertown Church where the Revels offices are, and that brings in the spring equinox with music and a little bit of dance and fun, sometimes a little mummers play. And the winter solstice is celebrated with a full-scale show at Sanders Theater. And each year we delve into a different culture and different cultural traditions, and This year we're going to be in Venice. Venice.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
And then you do also something that is so moving with the Perkins School for the Blind.
Well, that I have a really special place in my heart for that particular project. And in the spring, usually the third week of May or the last week of May, we collaborate with the Perkins School and their students who are fantastic musicians. And we bring our chorus over, an adult chorus and also a children's chorus, and we have a few rehearsals with the musicians at the Perkins School and their leader Arnie Harris, who is great. And we put on a show, and we have some dancing between the two groups with a live band always, and that is really something that I hope people can experience, because it is really quite moving.
Yeah. So let's go back to the banks of the Charles, and I want you to tell us a bit more about what's happening here. This is an old picture with George Emlyn in white.
George wearing his white tux.
Yeah, exactly.
Fantastic.
But here you are.
There I am. That was my first one last summer.
So tell us how you put together a program and what people can expect.
Well, Patty Swanson is the artistic director of Revels, and he's been there also for many decades. So he puts together a beautiful script, and there is some ritual to it. We have the parade, as we discussed, down to the river, and
you have the bell. You have the bell there ringing. Yeah.
The ringing of the bell signals the beginning of the celebration.
Yeah, yeah.
And to the right of me, on the screen, is David Coffin, who is a Revels fixture for many years, and to the left is Louise Grassmere, another wonderful jazz musician. And then you can see behind the Revels Children's Chorus, and a beautiful banner behind them, and then there's the adult chorus behind them, and that is open to anybody who's ever sung in any Revels production of any kind.
So tell us about the Revels chorus. If somebody wants to join, how would they go about that?
Well, there are a couple of different ways to do that. One thing that we have is the Revels Singers, which is an open community chorus that meets on Thursday nights.
Open means no audition.
No audition. Just come along and sing for the joy of it, and it's from 7 to 9, and it's a very congenial group. We do some Revels repertoire, and we're expanding out into other traditional kinds of music, some world music, a touch of classical music here and there, but really the point is to experience the joy of singing in community, which is another piece of the heart of the Revels mission, I think.
Wonderful.
And then another way is to audition for the Christmas show.
That is a steep curve, but some people can handle it.
It's a steep curve, and it's a huge commitment because we do 18 shows.
Yeah.
And weekly rehearsals, and we do a recording every spring.
Yeah.
So, but it's people get hooked.
Oh, they sure do, and their whole families. So if you have not been to Christmas Revels, you definitely want to enjoy that. Obviously, if you know RiverSing, that's outdoor, but the Sander Theatre is a magical place by itself, and there's a whole evening of magic and beauty and singing and dancing.
And community again, because that beautiful foyer out in Sanders Theatre is filled with people dancing at intermission, and if you haven't been, you should come and see what I'm talking about.
All right, so let's go back to the river and to RiverSing. And we have here David Coffin is clapping.
He's clapping.
Clapping because he also wrote a special song for that event.
He did. The Charles River Shanty, I believe it's what it's called. And he wrote the tune. He's a shanty man.
But he does sea shanties.
He does a lot of sea shanties. And he wrote these beautiful words honoring the river and what we can do to take care of it, and it's basically referring to people rowing down the river and what we'll see along the way, because it is 70 miles long. Some people don't know that.
And I remember also, I think it was last year, I think you sneaked in something about swimming in the Charles, because that's something the Conservancy is very keen about. So it was wonderful to have the music and the celebration.
We're both swimmers, we know that.
That's right.
So the McGarrigles sing a song that was written by Loudon Wainwright III about the swimming song. It's a great song. It seemed perfect for RiverSing. So.
Yeah. Well, it's wonderful when these things come together, because we definitely would like to bring a new tradition to the river, or bringing it back, and that is swimming in the river. So I feel our river
so excited.
Has so many possibilities, and we need to work with all of them. So here you go. I mean, and it's wonderful. It's not just the singers on the stage singing, but you actually lead the audience in singing as well.
Yeah, absolutely. That's part of the fun, is that everybody's encouraged to sing. It is not a concert by any means, but we do like to throw in a few surprise pieces now and then. Look at that sky.
Yeah, I think that's maybe 2 years ago. So tell us a little bit about, you added something about the Grateful Dead.
We did last year. We added 2 by the Grateful Dead. One was Come Here Uncle John's Band by the Riverside, so that made some sense to do that.
People love these new songs.
Yeah, and then Ripple, of course, because what do you see on the surface of a river?
Yeah, because I remember the first few years when we had RiverSing, people said, "Oh, is the Charles River Conservancy a religious organization? All the songs are religious." And I said, no, it's just because the river is often associated with conversion and faith. So
and Revels is not a religious organization either.
It's a celebration of
we are quite secular. Yes.
It's very secular, but obviously the river and the respect for the river, the respect for nature all comes through it. So that is very powerful.
Yes, I agree with you.
And then, so you already see that the sky is getting a bit darker. It starts at 6, and here is still some daylight.
Yeah, and these beautiful puppets. It's Gabriel Q does these puppets, and Jen Bliss has these butterfly puppets that you can see in the background there. Yeah.
And they move.
They do move. The wings are very realistic when they walk.
I think the word, and you see it with all the children, I don't have the pictures of them dancing, but they kind of dance between where the audience sits and the stage, and they just spontaneously dance there. They're having so much fun.
It's part of the beauty. Bring a picnic, you can dance, you can sit, you can sing, you can watch.
That's right. Many people bring a picnic.
Yep.
And they settle down on their blanket and wait for the music to start and for the singing to start. And then you hand out a program with all the words.
Everybody gets word sheets.
Yeah. So everybody can be included in that.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of, and often you see the same faces year after year. People just love that celebration.
It's always fun too, Renata, when people stumble into it, who hadn't heard of it, or they came from out of town and they were just in Harvard Square and they follow the parade down and they stumble upon this great musical gathering.
So tell me, who are, you mentioned some of the musicians, who are the people who fund you for that?
We have great funders for this. We have the DCR.
I think they help you with the permit. I don't think DCR funds things, but they help to prepare it, to close the road and clean it up.
Right.
So that's a very important partner.
So the Cambridge Arts Council.
Yeah.
The Mass Cultural Council, I believe.
Yeah.
And
probably the Cambridge Community Foundation.
That's it.
I know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And also, I think you get some help from the Harvard Square Business Association.
That's right.
It starts in Harvard Square.
Yeah, they're a tremendous help every year.
Yeah.
Tremendous.
So if you love RiverSing, you love Revels, maybe you might want to become a sponsor of that event and help that tradition that was started by the two organizations.
That's right, and there's a beautiful program book, so
exactly.
It's mutually beneficial in that way.
So the evening starts in sunlight, daylight, but then it becomes, I think the sun sets at that time of the day at 6:40. I remembered. So then there are half an hour of twilight and darkness. So tell us what we're looking at, what's happening here.
Well, it's the most incredible time of day. Anyway, I think the twilight and the light in the autumn is so beautiful. So what happens is we, at this point in the evening, we go into a great piece that was written by George Emlin, the music director, for this event called River Hymn. And he ties in a Native American song with a refrain that everybody can sing along with. And what happens is down the river comes this beautiful boat, and you're hearing a saxophone coming from the boat, having a conversation with the saxophone on the stage. And the stage saxophone player is Ken Field, a local musician who's wonderful, and he's conversing with the saxophone player on this boat, that's Stan Strickland, who is a beloved Cambridge musician as well. And the sound system is terrific, so that they just have this.
It's almost a call. It's almost a call and response.
It's a call and response.
Yeah.
Exactly. And the boat, which I hope people were able to see, that is so beautifully lit up with the sun and the moon. Yeah, it's a little distant there, but there you can see it perfectly. So. People are, of course, then drawn to the riverbank to see this happen, and it's the beautiful last event, basically, of RiverSing, and happens every year.
So we will return to a picture of that, because that kind of concludes the evening of RiverSing. But I'd love for you to tell us a little bit, you bringing new energy, new songs, new ideas to RiverSing and Revels. Tell us a little bit about your musical background and career.
Oh, okay, I'd be happy to. So I was trained as a classical pianist at New England Conservatory. And then I got into world music eventually. I've always loved to sing, so I've sung in an early music group since I was in the conservatory. And then I got into shape note music with a guy named Larry Gordon up in Vermont. And
I never quite understood that, but I maybe eventually I'll learn it. It's
shape note music, we'll have to have a separate show.
Exactly.
So it's basically a very raw style of music, and to me it was ear opening. I thought, oh my God, music can be like this, and not quite as fussy as it needs to be sometimes in the classical world. And from there, then I started to get into world music with the same man, Larry Gordon, who's worked with an awful lot of world musicians, and that all led me to Revels eventually. So
because many of their shows, particularly the Christmas Revels, they pick different parts of the world and then celebrate those cultures.
Exactly. So that requires the music director to be well versed in the music of that culture, that language, and also it's our responsibility to go out and find the tradition bearers from that culture. So, last year we did an Acadian Cajun show.
Oh, that was powerful.
Yeah, we had one of the greatest Cajun violinists, of all time, who actually happened to have roots in Acadia. And we had a great Acadian fiddle player and guitar player, and
and what's so moving about that show is because they had to leave Arcadia and marched, and they were
20 years they were
on the road.
Homeless. Yeah. So it was pretty timely.
So all the people who are on the march in Europe, and you have images of people on the march. And
that's right.
And that was very powerful.
Yeah.
But then in the case of the Arcadians, they traveled with their music, and they took it to New Orleans and other parts.
That's exactly right, and that's people don't often know that the Cajun music originated in Eastern Canada a long time ago. But fiddle and foot percussion were those remained with them as migrating people. Their music was completely transportable. Yeah. So that's how that happened.
It's wonderful.
Yeah.
So I want us now to go back to our RiverSing, because there are elements, a few elements that you also have during the Christmas Revels. you bring in some songs from other cultures to the river as well, because different cultures celebrate rivers.
Yeah, we tend to keep RiverSing in the English language so everybody can sing easily, and including kids.
Yeah.
But at Christmas, yes, we're in many different cultures, and this year is no exception. Mm-hmm. But I don't want to stray from the river.
No,
it's talk about.
Well, you're gonna have Venice, which is of course also a waterfront. And,
exactly.
And water is magical.
Exactly, and it turns out we're going to bring in a lot more than just Venice, because it was such a cultural crossroads.
Yeah.
And there were so many different musicians and so many different nationalities that converged there. So it's not just going to be an evening of madrigals.
All right.
But we'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
But we have classical, we've got early music specialists, and we've got world music specialists for this year. And Patty's going to be doing some commedia in that. So.
Well, Patty is Patty Swanson.
Patrick. Yep.
Yeah.
Patty Swanson.
Actually, both Patty Swanson and George Evelyn did several shows with me here at CCTV. And you can find the show we're doing now, as well as the earlier ones about Revels and RiverSing. You can find those on YouTube, as well as other shows that I have done about swimming, about the skate park, about our volunteers. And actually our volunteers play a key role in RiverSing as well, because they make sure that people can see the river. So they often hand cut the invasives, because they need to be cut just at the right height.
Yeah.
Or you might have seen some Conservancy volunteers. We have 2,000 landscapers a year. In this season they're planting bulbs, so that in the spring the shores of the Charles will be glowing in yellow.
That's fantastic. Well, we had a funny thing happen this year, because close to the event we got an email saying that there's a tree where the stage is supposed to be.
Yes, I notified you about the new tree, yes. Which is wonderful, because
I think so too.
Mass DOT together with DCR planted new trees as part of the Anderson Bridge renovation, which is now, the renovation is finished, and now we're going to add the underpass eventually. But they planted some trees there, and I wanted to make sure that your stage setup can accommodate that.
It was great.
So that is great. So we're coming to the end of the show, and I want to thank you for what you do for Revels, for RiverSing.
Well, Renata, thank you, and I want to thank the Conservancy on behalf of Revels for continuing to host us so generously.
Well, it's wonderful to work with Revels.
Yeah.
And we will work together for many more years.
Absolutely.
In many different ways.
Yes.
Yes.
I think a RiverSing from within the river sometime might be nice, since we're going to be swimming there soon.
Well, you're getting all wonderful ideas. And of course you have a website, revels.org.
Revels.org.
And you have pop sings, you have sings on boats.
We have harbor cruises in the summer. We have pub sings during the year. We have a salon coming up at the Dante Alighieri Society.
Wonderful.
That's a little
Oh, that's
beautiful.
Venetian.
It's Venetian, yes. So it's a little preview of the upcoming show.
Oh, it's a preview.
And there'll be food by Italy. There'll be some of the performers from the show. And
wonderful.
Patty will be speaking about the show. And
great.
Yeah, so we've got a lot of irons in the fire. People think it's just Christmas, but it's not.
It's all year round.
Yeah.
Music and merrymaking. So I want to thank you for coming today. I think I have one more picture of here.
There's Stan. That's Stan's trickling in that beautiful sun.
Yes.
You'll see that at the Perkins show. You'll see that on the Revels stage at RiverSing. That sun follows us everywhere.
Yeah.
And you saw the moon on the other side.
Yeah.
And there it is.
Powerful.
The equinox.
Powerful imagery.
Yeah.
So I will now end the show, and you will see of how you can get in touch with the Conservancy about any of other programs. Obviously, RiverSing is one we love in the fall. It's normally around September 20th.
Yes, it's close to the equinoxes.
And it's always on Sunday night.
That's right.
But if you are interested in landscaping or you're interested in swimming, we are working on a permanent swim park in North Point Park. We also do a lot of advocacy for bicycling along the river, because we feel this is a wonderful way to experience the river and to move along the river.
Yeah.
So it's a wonderful thing to have you here.
Thank you, Renata.
Thank you very much.
Thanks so much for having me.
And this is the way you can get in touch with us. Thank you.